Thank you everyone for coming. What a wonderful night. So an individual is nominated by each Ag Forestry class to the Stu Bledsoe Memorial Award. Award is given to a leader that the foundation believes has made a significant difference in natural resources in the state of Washington, and in this case, the whole of our nation. I'm proud to introduce Class 41's nominee, the Chief of the USDA Forest Service, Victoria Christiansen. Class 41 nominated Chief Christiansen not only because of her great accomplishments in bringing people together and connecting them with their natural resources, her ability to tackle challenging problems, lead complex organizations through learning, chaos, and now a global pandemic, but because she is a leader who has made a significant difference, because she's rooted in her natural resource values. She understands the purpose of being a true partner, and she invests significantly in relationships. Class 41 had the pleasure of spending time with Chief Christiansen back in February 2019 during our national government seminar. It feels like forever ago, Vicki. The Chief's time with us was inspiring, and most importantly, she spoke to each one of us, no matter our background or our industry. She encouraged us to be leaders from where we are and to stay true to ourselves, always. Most importantly, she told us her motto: people don't care what you know until they know that you care. We all came away feeling that she truly cared about our ag forestry class, our success, and our roles as leaders in Washington State. It is my distinct pleasure this evening to introduce my chief and yours, Chief Vicki Christiansen.
Wow, thanks so much, Kelly. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Really from my heart, and to the entire class 41. Congratulations for your incredible accomplishments and your journey. And now a first ever virtual graduation. Class 12 was interrupted a bit. I don't know if that's too well in the history books, but we did graduate on time, but our international tour was delayed a whole year because the Iraq war had broken out 4 days before we were to leave. So our class got to get back together a year after we graduated and did our international tour. So adaptability is a part of leadership. It's just great to, see many of my mentors and my colleagues out there in virtual land. Thank you. Thank you for this great, great honor. I was very fortunate to be able to be mentored a bit by Stu Bledsoe in the early years of my career. And it's just a great honor. And so many things were left for me in the inspiration he provided. And so I'm gonna give you just a bit of a story about my leadership journey through the eyes of how Stu Bledsoe influenced me, and also my the incredible learning and experiences I gained from my ag forestry experience now many years ago. First and foremost, it's about the basics, about what you stand for. And mine is very simple, folks. I'm passionate about connecting people to the land, connecting people to their natural resources. And that comes in all flavors, and folks feel differently about it, right? That's the complexity part, but our land is so important, and how people steward the land. So those two together is where my leadership journey started. And it started as a very, very shy young girl. I would have never imagined in a million years I would be the chief of the Forest Service, but it's being true and learning as you go on what you can offer for others. And hopefully through great leaders like Stu Bledsoe, I've been able to offer just a little bit. First and foremost, I think we all know Stu Bledsoe was a great visionary and inspirational leader. And you know, his vision was really about collaborative leadership. And Stu, I heard Stu more than once say, stand in the other person's shoes. Just take a moment and stand in the other person's shoes. And my ag forestry experience repeatedly gave me the opportunity to, with my classmates that were from diverse fields across the ag, forestry, and fisheries sector, and all of the seminars we had really brought that home. And Stu also said, go where the truth takes you. And being a science-based organization, you know, go where the science takes you. And I think most of you know about the historic Timber, Fish, and Wildlife Agreement that Stu Bledsoe and the great Billy Frank, the Nisqually tribal leader, who's now going to be in our nation's, is one step closer to having his statue here in our nation's capital. They really put themselves in the other shoes to come up with this historic agreement that said we need the fish, we need the timber, we need the cultural resources, we need the wildlife, and we need each other. So Stu was a great visionary on how we cross boundaries, how we think about the whole, and how we can really collaborate. So that's a bit of a quick journey number one, visionary and inspiring others towards that end. You know, Billy Frank Jr. said it's about finding common interests. He said, be an advocate for each other. We need the timber, we need the animals, we need the fish, we need each other. And Stu Bledsoe would articulate what was important about the relationships. The relationships mattered. He, and I quote, said, Billy and I decided we would be friends, that I wouldn't view him as the hot-headed activist, and he wouldn't view me as the cold-hearted corporate functionary. And they made great things happen because they built the relationship and they found the common interests. Second quick tour of my leadership journey, and what I focus on is leading with your heart. And Kelly already shared what I share often. It's you can use your head and your heart, folks, and you know they need to be in balance. You need, for me, I need to use both of them. And it's about that relationship. And, you know, the play on words that I use it is people don't care what you know until they know that you care. So, you know, having some kind of connection. I care about you, Matt, Kelly, Dennis. What's your interest? Now what I know is going to have much more of an entry point. And another way to think about that is through your values. What do you stand for? And Stu Bledsoe would often say, don't mess with your values. That's who you are, and that's what defines you. Be true to who you are. And it is about building the next generation of leaders. And congratulations to all of you for putting the time in for making the difference through your ag forestry journey, because I know it enriched and it opened up my world in a big way. And the third point I'll say, I could talk about leadership for a long time, but I'll boil it down to being a courageous leader. Don't be afraid to be transformational where you need to. And again, Stu Bledsoe would say, if it's worth doing, go for it. And, you know, I've had to practice some courage. I think we all have. You know, being a woman starting out 40 years ago in forestry and wildland fire, it wasn't easy being a part of the non-dominant group. And that's what has given me, quite frankly, the commitment and the passion in a large, complex organization and across the whole wildland fire sector in the US to say, everyone matters, and everyone deserves a respectful and safe, psychological, emotional, and physically safe work environment. It takes some courage to make that kind of stand in a very traditional field and organization. But when you connect to your values, you know what it's going to take to make a difference, to leave a legacy for now my granddaughter and my grandson. You don't just accept the status quo. It's always been done that way. Another piece I'd say is the growing wildfire problem in our nation. You know, it was really escalating when I was state forester in the great state of Washington. And we had all kinds of fires burning off of those Forest Service lands, off the state protected lands. And we had gone over in our fire suppression budget by $50 million. And I had to go to the state legislature and ask for a supplemental for $50 million. And it was not a comfortable place to be, hearing after hearing, being on that dais. And I remember having a physical moment where it's like, who is going to come fix this problem? And then I realized I had to make a stand. I had to be courageous and say, we have to do this together. We have to think bigger. We can't point fingers at the state and the locals and the feds and all those other things. And so in a small way, I was in on the ground floor of conceiving what is now the National Wildfire Cohesive Strategy, where we all come together and we are sharing our same, we are sharing our goals, our mutual interests for the safety of landscapes and communities across the nation. And from that came the Shared Stewardship Initiative, with Washington State being one of the first states to sign a historic shared stewardship agreement, that we can't look at administrative boundaries. We have to look for the whole of the natural resources and what makes a difference for all people based on our best interests. Those are just a couple little snippets. You know, if it wasn't for the grounding of ag forestry, I don't think I would have been able to come out of my shell like I did, to be bold, to, you know, connect to my values and learn to, you know, have some strength, to have some vision, and hopefully inspire others like Kelly and so many other leaders out there. So it's just an absolute honor. And I thank every one of you for thinking of me. If I can continue to give back and growing future leaders, I am in it all the way. Thank you.